Hi, this is Phyllis. Welcome back again to my channel. Today's project are my layered snowflake earrings. If you like these little earrings, stay tuned for my materials list and I will show you how to make them. The materials for today's project are 8/0 seed beads, and I'm using my Yuki in the white. I have some 11/0 seed beads. I'm using that matte bright sterling plated, the Mayuki brand, and I'm using some bugle beads. And these bugle beads say number 2 straight bugle, and I got these from Hobby Lobby, and it says that the color is silver. I'm going to use a size 11 color eyes needle. I'm using some stainless steel wire guardians, stainless steel ear wires. I'm using my 6-pound fire line in the crystal color, my pliers for opening the ear wires, opening and closing the ear wires, my scissors, and my beadboard bead mat. So if you liked what you saw in my intro, please stay tuned and we will get started. I'll show you exactly how to make this. I have threaded my needle with 4.5 feet of my fire line, and I strung 6 of my 8/0 seed beads onto my needle, and I'm just going to pull this down to the end of the thread and tie a knot. Just pull it tightly. I'm going to advance my needle into a couple of these beads, and I'm going to place an 11/0 seed bead between each of my 8/0s. And once I'm done placing an 11/0 between each of my 8/0s, we're going to step up into the first 11/0 that we added, and we're going to make our snowflake from the inside out. We're almost there. I've got one more to add. Once I pick up my last size 11/0, I'm going through the 8/0 and that first 11/0 that I added in the round. Once here, now I'm going to string on a bugle bead, 2 size 11/0 seed beads, and a bugle bead, and I'm going to pass my needle into the next size 11/0 seed bead, pull my thread, and make sure that your beads sit like this, and we're going to do that all the way around, and I'll meet you back. I have strung on my final set of bugle beads and 11/0s, and I'm passing through the first 11/0 seed bead where I started. Let me see if I can do something about this blurriness. Okay, we might be a little further back, but it might help. Okay, and I'm passing into that first 11/0 seed bead where we started, and making sure to arrange my beads so that the thread is not twisted. And I'm going to step up by advancing into the bugle bead and 11/0 that is right there. Now, the only thing I'm doing by way of adding beads is stringing on an 11-0 and passing my needle into this 11-0 bugle bead, 11-0, pull my thread, and that 11-0 that I just added makes a point. I'm going to do this all the way around, and I will meet you back. Pass up into the bugle bead and this 11-0 and string on an 11-0 and advance into this 11-0 here, the bugle bead, and this 11-0 here on the bottom, and just do that all the way around until you have your point bead in all 6 of your sets. I have gone all the way around, placing my point seed beads here in the 6 sets of bugle beads, and I stepped up by going back into this first bugle bead that I added and into that first point bead that I added. While we are here, and now I'm going to add my wire guardian, because we're building this snowflake from the center. So this is the center, and I am putting this wire guardian right here on top of this seed bead, and I'm just going to reinforce it a couple of times, and when I'm done reinforcing, I'm going to end up in my 8/0 seed bead. Just making sure that the thread remains there in the groove of the wire guardian. Okay, there it is. And now I'm going to enter into my seed bead again, down into this 11/0 and bugle bead, and then advance into our next position, which is an 8/0 seed bead. And what do you think we're going to do here? We're going to do the same thing. I'm going to string on a bugle bead, 2 11/0s, and a bugle bead, and I'm going to, my thread is exiting this 8/0 here. I'm just going to pass my needle into the next 8/0 seed bead. Pull my thread, and make sure that the thread is not twisted, and give it a nice tug, and come on and try to get it arranged properly. Okay, and you see that I want it to sit between and in front of these 2 sets that are in the back. And the next thing I'm going to do is the same thing, stringing on a bugle bead, 2 11/0s and a bugle bead, and pass my needle into the next 8/0 seed bead and arrange my beads properly. And I'm going to do that all the way around, and I will see you back. I've gone all the way around, and I have my bugle bead sets all in place. They are between and in front of these ones, the previous ones that are in the center. And the only thing I'm going to do now is And I've stepped up into this bugle bead in 11-0, just like I did when I went around. I'm going to string on one seed bead and pass my needle into this 11-0 and the bugle bead, and pull my thread and place that point bead, that center point seed bead right there. I'm going to go into the 8-0, and I'm going to go all the way around and add those points in between. And when I'm done with that, I'm going to pass my needle in between, and I'm going to go around and do the same thing on this side, on the other side of the 11-0s that I've done, and use my 8-0 seed beads to make my bugle bead sets. And then I'm going to go around and put the points in there, and I will see you when I am done. So I have completed both sides of my snowflake, and the only thing I have left to do is, well, I can add my ear wire and I can trim my threads. So just going to open up my ear wire, slide my earring on there. It's just a component, but I made an earring out of it, and it's really small, and it's not heavy or anything like that, and it's as simple as that. A few steps, and trim off my thread, and that is it. And I'd like to thank you for hanging out with me to make my layered snowflake earring. See you next time.